Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Wolff College of Coffee vlog. My name's Adam, and today, as we love to do, we have an unboxing for you. For the first time ever, we have a Slayer steam in-house here at the Wolff Haus. Join us, we're going to unbox this coffee machine and see what's inside. So for the first time in forever for Slayer, under the new ownership of Chimbali, these machines, or the new Slayer EP, has volumetrics. So built-in volumetrics, all of your heads-up display as well, no more paddles, which is great. Previously, it has all been paddle-based machines, which means that ultimately, if you didn't quite know how to use paddles, which personally, I'm not really a paddle user on coffee machines, unfortunately, it has taken it outside of the realm for a lot of baristas to step into any cafe and be able to use it. Now, this is what's different about this machine, so, and we'll put those to the test later. Outside of that, down on the side here, we do have a motor with a built-in gauge on the motor. Now, within the box, there are a few other things that kind of come along with the machine, and we'll take a look at those now. So this box comes in the machine, and inside we have kind of the usual kit. We've got two double spout handles and a single spout handle. From a note from us to all coffee machine manufacturers anywhere, please stop sending us the single spout. We don't need it. That's just me. Outside of that, underneath, we do have a threaded hose included, and then a few little bits and pieces on the sides here. So, as with most, comes with a little pot of cleaning equipment, which is always nice. I know La Marzocco do that as well. You've got your blind little rubber feet as well, and a cool little Slayer sticker, so that's going on my laptop. And then on this side, a whole bunch of nothing. Cool. Well, that's the inside of the box. Now, with the help of some movie magic, we'll chuck this up on a bench, and in the next we'll show you kind of how it works and how everything operates. Welcome back. So, like we said, movie magic. It's gone from out there to in here. Some things to point out. Yes, my hair has changed, and that's because the time between then and now was fairly significant. So this took about 48 hours to install altogether, which is a record for us, but not in a good way. What we'll do now is we'll kind of point out some things on the machine, positives and negatives, and kind of what we've had in the experience thus far. In the interest of fairness, what I would like to do is say that in our reviews and our unboxings before with things like the Sanremo Racer and the Zoe, we have always been positive, and we will be about this machine. Look, machines have issues, they all do. There's always something. White Eagles end up with steam wand blockages. Sanremos have issues as well. We get boiler issues, we get power issues, so no one's without fault. One of the things we found with this machine is that for you, if you're a cafe owner and you're buying one of these, don't get it sent directly to your cafe. When we did the unboxing outside, we did require a crowbar to get the crate open. From there, the machine was then bolted down, so we did have to use a forklift to raise it up to get to the bolts underneath. It would have been a nightmare if you got it delivered directly to your cafe. Then we put it up on the bench here. Now it does weigh 100 kilos with water included just in the two group. It is a two-man, if not three-man job to get it up on the bench. But then we came into some things. So looking from the outset, we did not receive a manual or any level of instructions that came with this machine. So we thought we'd be able to kind of install it the normal way. We generally use the La Marzocco installation guide, and we'll put a link for that below if you ever wanted to take a look at La Marzocco. We use their install guides for any machine because they are fairly stock standard in terms of the power you need, the water you need, hole size, weight capacity of the bench. They're generally pretty good, but with this machine, all of that went out the window. So we will say first and foremost that the power cable that came with this machine was industrial sized. It was a thick power cable. Generally that comes from the fact that American machines like the Slayer here, they do operate in different power levels. I know we've seen a 3 group of one of these at 38 amp, which is not exactly common for machines we normally work with that are either 32s or 40s. But it didn't come with a plug. And so we couldn't put even an industrial sized plug on it. It had to be hardwired, which down at 25 and 20 amp is not a usual thing to have. Beyond the size of that cable, it did have 2 water inlets as water intake, as well as 2 water outs. Now we were kind of finding online that the explanation for that was that the drip tray generally as a result of it being raisable and lowerable, needs a secondary drain pipe. The reason for that being when you're running, say, a back flush and you're doing your chemical clean, the water runs back through the heads, and because if you raise the drip tray, it's not able to get to the drip tray to then drain out. So there is a secondary tube. That being said, with San Remo Cafe races, they have a raisable and lowerable drip tray, but they only have one drain pipe. So when it came to putting this on the bench, as with the La Marzocco guide, if you click the link below, you'll find that the general suggestion is a 55 mil diameter hole in your bench. We actually had to drill the hole in this bench bigger than it's always been on any machine we've had here, up to about 75 mil, in order to allow for all the water in, all the water out, and the power cable. Onto the machine features. It's a great machine to use. They've worked out some kinks from previous machines, from previous iterations of this machine. So one of the big things I really like is the really thin profile on the group handles. I'm a fan of really thin pens. I don't like a thick pen, and so for the same reason, having a real good grasp of this works really well for me. Beyond that, the extensions of the heads and the easy access with 3 bolts just to get in and do what you need to do as a technician is a pretty good thing as well. Beyond that, the actual interchange up here and kind of looking at all of the heads-up display, what you can see, what it can tell you as you run shots, and then going deeper than that into the menu. It is fairly intuitive and great to use, both as a barista and as a technician. Our issues with some of the features on this machine is that if you're looking at steam ones with this level of extension and exposure, similar to, say, La Marzocco Strata, when they're that exposed, they really should be insulated. They really should be cool touch steam ones, because if I'm standing here as a barista and I reach across for a cup, I'm gonna burn my arm if I've been using that steam wand. It's a surprise to us that they weren't done that way. But that being said, the actual exposed nature of them, the motion, the variability within that, I think they're actually pretty cool to move around and be able to use depending on where you are in relation to the machine. So positives and negatives to that. Now, running shots and using the volumetrics that is the feature of this machine, it's been very consistent for us running it over the last couple of weeks. Watching the shot time, giving you shot times within points of a second as well has been great. One of the features that we found rather interesting is that while it does have the capacity for pre-infusion or pre-wetting, which is a great feature, steps it above your standard machines, your standard single boilers, or things that don't have the technology to show you what you're doing. While it does have that feature, one of the drawbacks is that once you do a pre-wet and you set how long that is, the hold that you would have after, before it hits it with full 9 bars of pressure, maxes out at 4 seconds. And for us, with the Strata up on our bar in Big Bad, it was surprising that we can set that to anything. I think we've done 11-second holds in the past and achieved great flavor in the coffee. But here, you really need to be thinking about what your offset is, because you can only max out at a 4-second hold. So from there, going down through the machine, drip tray actually really clean, really easy to use, especially if you need to clean it out at the end of the day. It is not fully removable, but the exposed nature of it makes it rather easy to clean. I love the steam wands, so just having flip steam wands similar to White Eagles, Black Eagles, I love that feature as a standard. The other feature that they have removed as well is the 3-second slowdown time that this used to have. So you'd knock off your steam wand and you'd have to leave it there just for an extra few seconds while the steam wand powered down. It was an odd feature to have. Couldn't honestly tell you why they did it, but it's gone away now. So it's steam wand on and straight off. So great feature there. The design and features of the machine from the back and the front, it is a very good looking machine. Customizability is going to be a big one for us as well. We do like being able to change out what kind of the swooping blade over the back would be in terms of color, what the side panels would be. A lot of people really want pink and green and orange machines these days, so to have the ability to just 3 bolts, remove the sides, send them away, get them fabricated, get them back, I do like that as a feature as well. So we'll take a look down at the pump and take a look at what the best feature of it there is. Welcome down. So looking at the pump for this machine, one of the defining features, I guess, that is different to most other pumps I've seen is the fact that it does feature your gauge down here, which I do like seeing as it activates. the fact that we don't up top have a proper pressure gauge, it is nice, especially given the fact that if you're down here tuning your pump and tuning your pressure for your shots, to be able to see your feedback while you're there doing it versus having to call up to someone, you know, what's it at now as you make your adjustments. So it's a nice little feature to have. But as we said before, the fact that the machine for some reason has multiple water inlets. So we do have our standard water in, but then once it hits the pump, it needs to be diverted twice, one for the mixer and one for the steam boiler pressure, which just leads to even more cables going through the hole. So look, I like the fact that they've moved away from the hardwired pumps of Slayers of old. We are now at a quick connect version, which is very handy for these connections. But if you're already hardwiring the machine, you can hardwire the pump. It's not really a time saver. But look, Slayer pumps are great. They are fairly compact for the amount of kick that they do have, so we don't mind that at all. All right, so as a final word, look, it's a beautiful machine. I love the ability to customize. I do like the steam ones. I do like the control of the heads and the fact that as a Slayer, it now features not just a paddle design. Yes, installation is a tricky thing, but that's why you have people like us and technicians who can do it for you when it comes to installing in a cafe. But that being said, look, in terms of control, variability, and utilizing the volumetrics that are there, we've had a lot of fun using this machine. I had a course in the Wolff College of Coffee the other day, and we wanted to taste 2 espressos at 2 different temperatures to see what happens if you have an espresso at 97 degrees and one at 93 degrees. We jumped into the menu, scrolled 3 times, and all of a sudden I had one head at 97, one head at 93 within 15 seconds. So being able to change things like that, being able to use the machine for the capacities that it has, it's a great machine, and I can't wait to really put it through its paces out in the field. But we'd like to say thanks to the guys at Slayer for sending this over and letting us take a crack at it, and we can't wait to get back to you and take a look at the next machine and what's on the horizon for Mice 2020 and Host Milan after that, and who knows, there could be something out there that's just yet to blow our minds in terms of coffee machines. So remember to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching this week's Wolff College of Coffee vlog. If you'd like to watch another video, you can click one of them here. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe so you can always see the next video when it comes out next week. If you'd like to leave a comment or like below, we'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, grab a cup of coffee and come back soon. I can wait.